with your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the latest edition of Auburn Blitz here. Brett Pritchard will be joined shortly by Randy Lee. Glad that you joined us here today for your lunch wave, and would love to hear from you. You can give us a call, 256-234-6221, or you can comment away throughout the show on Facebook Live. Also, again, we want to encourage people to start following us on YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel out there. Go out there and find us at Sportz Blitz. That's sports with a Z. For all of our programming, everything that we will have, and we're going to continue to build that part of it up, and we'd love for you to start trying to find us on YouTube every day. But again, glad to have all of you with us, and again, couldn't do the show without Russell Do It Center and Building Supply Stores, Mortgage Pro there at McKinley Team, and Big Fish Real Estate Group at Lake Martin. Glad to have them as our corporate partners here on the program. Definitely couldn't do the show without them and all of our other fine sponsors out there. A lot to talk about here on today's edition of the Auburn Blitz. We'll go back over Auburn getting ready on the men's side to get back on the court here tomorrow night, and back home in Neville Arena, the friendly confines there, to be part of a team that knocked Auburn off to start SEC play in Georgia. They'll have them in Auburn Arena coming up tomorrow. But how about the women? The Lady Tigers, 3 in a row last night. As I watched that game, knock off the Florida Gators 66-55. Johnny Harris, the first time Auburn's women's team has won 3 in a row in SEC play since 2016. So, hey, look, got their 2 top players back from injury. It makes a big difference. And you can look down on the box score, Randy, and you can tell Coulibaly, 14 points. Richardson had 15 points. And the rest of the ladies out there contributing to the scoring. Florida was unconscious from outside the three-point arc. They had 10 made threes out of 22 attempts, only made 18 shots all night. So the three ball kept them in it, or Auburn would have really probably ran away with this thing even more. But I'm proud. We don't do enough talking about our women's team because, frankly, it hadn't been a very good product. And it's not that we just start talking about teams when they do good, but Johnny Harris came in with a lot of accolades from Mississippi State. Bruce Pearl gave a ringing endorsement of her, and he said, look, give her time. She's going to turn it around. You're starting to see it a little bit.
It definitely is. And, in every sport, especially basketball, if you're missing your 1 or 2 best players, right, it really shows up in that. I mean, imagine the Auburn basketball team right now if you took Wendell Green and Janai Broome off of this squad. How many wins would you end up with the remaining of the SEC schedule? But proud of the women. Glad they're turning it around. Took a thumping a couple of weeks ago to Alabama, and it took all of us back. We haven't been good, but when you get beat by a team that's not that good too, and Alabama, I know Alabama's getting a little better this year, and they're seeming to turn the corner a little bit in women's basketball. But this is not a program that's been perennially a contender in the SEC in Alabama. And but able to come back and able to play well. I think they had a quarter last night. We're only giving up 2 points in the entire period. So defensively, really played well last night. And look, I went back with Andy a couple of weeks ago, and we looked at the records, and it may have been Scott some on a Saturday, and we looked at the women's basketball record dating back to the end of the Joe Champy era, and really the last 5 or 6 years that he was there, Brett.
Right.
They had a winning record, but it was never really good. It was much like Nell Fortner.
Right.
Nell Fortner kind of caught lightning in a bottle in Bonner, and won an SEC championship, went 30-4 that season. But outside of that one season, Auburn's only had, I think, 2 winning records in SEC play since Joe Champy left.
Yeah,
and one of those like 13-11. So it
hasn't been a very good product, like I said. And again, she inherited a tough situation, and you're starting to see things turn around. They played extremely well the last 3 games. Again, adding those 2 key components back to the lineup have helped. Coming down the stretch, the next game for the Lady Tigers will be Arkansas on Sunday at Neville Arena. That's a winnable game. Arkansas 17-7, but Auburn now 13-8 on the season. So another opportunity to add to this winning streak. Then South Carolina rolls into town on the next Thursday, 21-0. Very impressive how Alabama played South Carolina the other day. South Carolina still won pretty convincingly, but Alabama hung in there. Auburn's already played the South Carolina team a few weeks ago and got pummeled, got beat by almost 50 points, if my mind serves me correctly. So hopefully we can see some improvement. Maybe, at Auburn, South Carolina coming in, got the 2 players back on the roster that were much needed. We'll see how we compete.
Well, already are seeing improvement.
Right.
So, it's like back to the same Brian Harsin comment that we had in the previous 2 years. What improvement do you expect? And I can remember you and I and everyone else that sat up here wearing Auburn colors and talking and having a little Auburn spirit on our program, and we've got about 5 or 6 of them that do this show with us, and all of us said, look, I can deal with 6 or 7 wins if we're showing progression in the recruiting front. If you were to get me 6 wins this year and I see Auburn 6, 7, 8, 9th in recruiting and showing some movement toward positivity when it comes to that conversation, then we could all buy into it, and that just didn't happen. So the same as what I would ask you on the basketball front. You are seeing wins. You know? The question is, can you go out there and get some players like South Carolina was able to do, and you go out there and you compete with the Tennessees and the others of the world in women's basketball? And we see some here in the state of Alabama. Can you go out there and keep those girls at home? Alabama has really taken advantage of going back over to Georgia, where Barker ended up, and pulling her back into this program. And look, her leadership and her play on the court is part of the reason that you're seeing Alabama take a step forward. And same with us here, Brett. We got to keep the best players in the state of Alabama at home. And that hasn't been the case for a while.
No, and again, Johnny Harris, saw a little bit of flash last year of got a big win at home against Tennessee. Nobody gave them a chance in that game, and I remember that was a big win. And, of course, just a few bright spots last year, but that's really what you look for. Do you see some things kind of flipping? And, again, they'll have 7 more SEC games, got some tough ones. They'll play Alabama again, got South Carolina. Again, the next one up is Arkansas. Man, it'd be huge to get a win Sunday at home against Arkansas. It'd be 4 in a row. For this women's team. And, again, this is the first time since 2016 that Auburn women's basketball has run off 3 consecutive wins in SEC play. So, look, you build on positive things, and that's definitely a positive there, and kudos to that program. We'll talk a lot about the number 3 transfer class in the country for the Auburn Tigers. The dust is kind of settled. Tomorrow is the next signing day. This used to be a big day for us on this program. It's kind of like, is there
big day
sign?
around the country?
That's right. Is this another signing day? Jeremiah Cobb will put his name on the dotted line tomorrow for Auburn to finish this class, which is huge. You're always nervous.
Sure you
until that name's on the line. And again, he decided, like all the Catholic players in Montgomery, to sign at the same time in a ceremony that was pre-planned months ago. So I don't think there's a lot of nerves there, but still, you still a little anxious because we've seen stuff happen in the past. But he'll put his name hopefully on the dotted line and finish his class off for Auburn, which ended up being really, really good in Hugh Freeze's first year, only given really a few weeks to try to pull everything together. But Randy, he made hay in the transfer portal. He goes out and lands one of the top 3 transfer classes in the country. So with a very small amount of time, and most of these guys coming out of high school already pretty much knowing and being committed, he had to go to the portal, and he did an outstanding job.
It was needed. It was almost a must. You know, you see some of these positions, the question mark going into next season is how we're going to field a team. Because you had depth issues in so many of those positions like offensive line and a linebacking core that you had to go in there and get warm bodies just to come in and give yourself a little depth. But as you run down this list and some of the schools that these guys attended and then end up in the portal and coming this way, you got to know that they were high recruits when the opposition was after them at that time, and some just off the hoof look really good. You know, they're at the top of the list. Every time I see a picture of a Fairweather, I want, hey, let's get that kid on campus. Let's get him a uniform on and let him get off the bus first. He's one of those guys that looked the part. 6'5", 210 pounds, looks bulkier than the 210 does.
He does look bigger than 210. I guess it's the way, you know, he looks in the uniform and all, but, you know, this is a kid that was a 2-star, really kind of 3-star in high school that vaulted up when they rank while you're in college in the transfer portal ranking a high 4-star now. You know, he really went down to Florida International, and, you know, you and I talked about this yesterday. There's a lot of kids out here, and here's the problem with the UABs and the Troys and the Jacksonville States that they're going to have to face. They may go out and see a guy, and they go, man, this guy's got great potential, I'm going to bring him in. And they bring him in, and he does what Fairweather does. And then all of a sudden, the big boys call. And, of course, he gets a higher ranking, and a lot of those smaller schools are going to lose those kids. And that's exactly what happened with Fairweather. He vaulted his stock up when he got in college. He grew, he got better. He put big numbers up. Then a lot of the big boys came calling, and now he's got a chance to play in the SEC.
It's guys that you and I broadcasted not only here locally but around the state of Alabama. Right. And every time that we go on air, I go, I don't know. This guy seems marginal. I can understand why he's marginal. But if he ends up out there on the field playing like I think he's going to play, you can see why a lot of other teams would want him. And, you know, in today's world, that's also got to be the thought process of a lot of these kids. End up at the best opportunity that you got may not be where you end up.
That's exactly right. You know that might not be your final stopping place. So just getting started here on the Auburn Blitz. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route, to work, to home, to the beach. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic, from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
Lake Martin Garage, located on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, has been serving our area since 1993. From routine maintenance such as oil changes, tune-ups, and rotating and balancing your tires, to transmission and engine repair, our trained and certified mechanics will get you back on the road better than before. Need a tow? With a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week towing service, Lake Martin Garage has local and long-range pickup. Trust your vehicle needs to the professionals at Lake Martin Garage. Call 256-825-6139, or better yet, stop in and see them today. Lake Martin Garage.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City. J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee here with you for about 45 more minutes today. Get your comments in, your phone calls, 256-234-6221. Again, special thanks to Russell Do It Center and Building Supply Stores, Mortgage Pro there at McKinley Team, and Big Fish Real Estate Group at Lake Martin. Glad to have them as our program partners here. Kyle said it doesn't matter how good Broom, Williams, et cetera are. This team will go as far as Wendell takes them. I don't think we've had a game yet to where we have, he's been bad that we've won. All right, there's a common denominator in the 5 losses for Auburn, and it comes from one guy on the other team. And I kind of gave y'all the list the other day in the text thread. Mm-hmm. We've had 5 guys go for 27-plus in our 5 losses. Georgia, Southern Cal, Texas A&M. We saw what happened with West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Got to stop letting one guy beat you. And we're close in those games, but you got to quit letting one man have a career night on you. And so what has happened though is and David and I talked about it yesterday. Our guard play has been exposed, and most of these guys that are scoring 27 plus, they're not coming from inside on the block. It's coming from a taller, more physical guard that can get around the defender, whether it be Wendell or whether it be Zip or whether it be KD or whoever, and he's getting inside and he's going to the free throw line or he's hitting threes up over a smaller guard. We kind of saw it with Stevenson against West Virginia. When Wendell was on him, he was draining threes. When they made a switch and put Williams on him, Williams is 6'7". He comes over, he can't elevate over him. He missed a couple threes late. It's a problem that has been exposed. Bruce Pearl chose to go that route. We kind of talked about it. Ed commented yesterday. He's like, well, Stevenson wanted to come to Auburn, but I think he got a better deal. It's not the fact that I don't think Bruce goes out and doesn't try to recruit bigger guys. It's just that he likes smaller, quicker guards. It's proven since he's been at Auburn that he likes that. He's been successful with it, but there are times you're going to get exposed.
I think the exposure happens when, well, 2 things. One thing is when you've got 2 on the court at the same time.
Right.
It's okay if your point is matched up with their point and their point 6'2" or 6'3", and yours happens to be 5'10", 5'11", you can most of the time handle that for the most part. But the moment that Jasper and KD or Wendell are all on the court at the same time, and look, put yourself in Bruce's shoes now. He chose them, so I'm not giving him a pass on it. But there is no other options at this point. Right. I mean, he went out there and he got Chance Westry, who he expected a lot out of. He's 6'6". Right. So he would add a lot of presence to that two-guard position that was needed. And
got injured.
There's no part of any of us that didn't watch KD play last year and think that he wasn't a big, strong, physical guard. I don't care what his size was. Right. He was a physical guy that got up in your chest, and he played physical. And if anything, he was the one getting the ball to the bucket on more physical guards and scoring the basketball.
Now he's got the yips on shooting.
Now he's backsliding a little bit, to say the least. But another thing that you watch with Auburn that has not exposed itself as much in previous years as it has this year is we don't step over picks a lot. I don't know how to explain that. I'm not a basketball coach, but we don't fight through a lot of high ball screens.
We do a lot of switching, and David
there's the word I'm looking for.
David brought that up yesterday. We do a lot of switching, even though we might not have the personnel to do it correctly. And see, teams understand that they can get up top, they can make a switch, and they can create a mismatch, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, the switching. again, not being a basketball coach, that's the term that I was looking for. But we do, we were always taught to hedge that. You got to fight through that pick. You got to get over the top of it. You can't always.
Instead, we concede to just switch.
When you get in high ball screen and you backside it, you're stepping back 2 or 3 feet. You're giving a guy that, especially if he's got length on, you're giving him an opportunity to go straight up and shoot that three right dead in your face. So it just takes a lot of effort, and unfortunately, it's where we are. Wendell Green, when he's going like he was at Ole Miss, he can go in games and he can go win it for you. And he shoots the ball so well from the free throw line that I totally agree with the comment there. We go as he goes, but I don't know how far I just don't know how far he can take us.
He just got to have some help. I mean, and I don't know that anybody's at this point. I mean, you probably have what you have. I don't know that anybody's going to do much more. Zep Jasper's really not an option at all. He gives you nothing.
Well, he was the better option when you took Wendell out, or even if you started Zep and didn't start Wendell, which was the majority of last year, and you had him from a defensive, and he's a good ball handler, and he can distribute well when he's at the point.
Getting a lot of assists
but he's not a two. He's playing a two.
Yeah.
He's not a two, man. He's a distributor, and he's an excellent on-ball defender. One of the best on-ball defenders that we have, and he was outstanding last year. I mean, his guy doesn't do a lot, but he can't match up with a two. Most time a two in the SEC 6'5", 6'6". There's just very few twos that are sitting out there. And that's not a good matchup for him. So it's unfortunate. I think Westry would have been a big addition.
And I think they tried to see if he could go a couple weeks ago, and they just said, look, let's just shut it down. There's no sense to rush back. He'll be back next year. I definitely think he'd probably redshirt, and be a contributor next year. I mean, it's unfortunate that you have a guy that you were counting on to be injured or ended up getting injured. Also, and I've said this till everybody's sick of hearing it, Johan Traore and Trey Donaldson. Trey Donaldson had a little bit better game the other night, but Johan Traore he's been the mystery. I mean, he was one of the highest-ranked recruits coming in. Bruce thought all 3 of those guys were going to be major contributors.
There's no reason for him not to.
And that you take them all out, now you have a very small roster, short roster of options that you can pick from to get your points. And
I think it also
don't have a lot of depth anymore.
I think it also shows that in the era of the transfer market and in the era of players getting a lot older, we're talking about 5th, 6th year players, coming in as a freshman is extremely tough in a conference like the SEC to not be exposed. And, if you've got a deficiency, which a lot of times most of these freshmen have some type of deficiency, these coaches like Buzz, they're going to expose you every time that they read one. They've done a really good job, and since that Miami game last year, if you throw guards, if you throw long, lengthy defenders at Wendell, we struggle.
Yeah, everybody knows the recipe now.
Yeah.
Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Auburn Blitz right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Country Clipper zero-turn mowers are designed for comfort, accessibility, and ease of use. Only Country Clipper offers your choice of steering options with industry-exclusive joystick steering or twin lever steering. Their patented stand-up deck, standard on every model, allows for quick access to the underside of the deck for routine maintenance. With a wide front step and optional handrail, getting on or off your mower has never been easier. Stop by Fun Carts of Opelika today for a test drive. Country Clipper mowers, designed for you. Fun Carts of Opelika, located at 618 Lee Road, 113 in Opelika, Alabama.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
No monthly payments for 90 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $9,250 off. New GMC Acadias up to $6,250 off. And new Buick Enclaves up to $6,000 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. Halfway through the program, if you'd like to give us a call do that. We'd love it. 256-234-6221. Of course, you can comment away on Facebook. You can find us out there at Sportz Blitz. That's sports with a Z. Also on YouTube. Make sure you go out there and find us on YouTube. And again, we're going to continue to build that up, and we want to push everybody to go and subscribe to our YouTube page out there. Auburn again on the floor tomorrow night against Georgia. Georgia is a better team under Mike White, and he coached at Florida. Things just kind of, I don't say he got bad, it just kind of got stale. And, Georgia has been a pretty poor program, especially under Tom Crean. He's come in, they're 500 in the league play. I mean, they're 14-7. They beat us the first time at home. They're licking their chops. They think they can come into Neville Arena and do what Texas A&M did and knock Auburn off.
They're the Auburn of this conference before Bruce Pearl.
Right, they are.
They are the one that you see sitting out there and you go, gosh, I think that there's something there if they can ever get the right person involved.
And they may have the right person now.
Yeah, I do. There's no part of me that doesn't think he can get it done. There's a little bit of a luster around that program right now. Right. You can just get a sense that things are a little more positive. Now, last week they only scored 41 points.
Right.
In a big defeat,
he can't fix it in one day, but yeah, but I mean, Georgia was a non-factor at this point. Last year and the year before. I mean, they're 500 right now, so they're sitting right there in the middle of the conference. It's a must-win for Auburn. Let's just go ahead and take all this out. You got to win that game at home tomorrow night if you want to continue to have aspirations of some good things coming down the stretch, because the rest of it didn't get any easier. The next two games are on the road at Tennessee and A&M. You'd like to split them. It's going to be tough to get one out of that. Then you got Alabama coming in on February the 11th. Now, again, they just took a thumping. They're probably going to have to take a step back and see where they are, but and see how they rebound coming off that. They'll be at home again tomorrow. But
I don't think that's a bad matchup for Auburn outside of the length on the perimeter. But if you watch that game, which I watched the entire game, which is kind of odd for me, by the way, Brett, you can pass that along. I'm not just going to sit there and I'll watch all the Auburn games and about zero sporting events from start to finish outside of that. Right. But I was enjoying Alabama getting run, and I watched every waking second of it.
They just physical.
They got bullied.
They just got bullied.
They got literally bullied in Oklahoma. And if you watch that film and you see the way they got bullied down in the post, that's got to be the X's and O's that you're going after. And Auburn has the physicality down in the post of taking advantage of Janai Broom and feeding the post when we've done a good job of that to be able to bully teams as well. So, but got to play physical, and I expect us to at Auburn.
I was shocked, to be honest, when, Alabama kind of took a punch to the face and they backed down. I mean, and it also didn't help that they weren't hitting their outside shots.
Yeah.
So, they're getting pushed around a little bit, and you can see a lot of times physical teams like an Oklahoma, who's not they're not a great team, but they knew they had to try to come in and take the fight to Alabama. You kind of gauge how the officials are going to call that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you barely touch somebody, it's a foul. You're like, I can't go in there and push people around. We're going to foul out. If they let you play a little bit, now you can kind of get in there and get after it. And once they figured that out, and Alabama couldn't hit those outside shots, it's like the wind was taken out of their sails.
It was.
So, again, officiating has a lot to do with how a game is played, too. You might have some guys in there that call every little thing, and then you have some that say, look, I want to see these two teams go at it. We'll call a foul, but if they just bumping each other inside, we're not going to call that. So
a lot of this was physical picks.
It was.
Moving off ball screens, offensive rebounds, physical nature, going back to the bucket. We're not talking about Oklahoma playing over the rim. We're just talking about good old bully ball.
Well, they just executed, too.
New York Knicks play back under Pat Riley.
That's exactly right. Kyle said, what do y'all think about LeBaron Fallon, five-star player here in Alabama in the 24 class? He said he's seen where Auburn might be the favorite. We've seen him. We watched him play against Benjamin Russell. They had 57 points that night, and they beat Benjamin Russell by 3. Benjamin Russell had the lead with less than a minute to go in the game, and ended up losing 74-71 because they came down, made a shot. and then we turned the ball over coming back down to try to win the game, and we had to foul them and put them at the line for 2 shots. So they ended up beating us 74-71.
I think Philon had something like the last 30 points.
Yeah, and he had 57 total. So I know Bruce and several coaches have been to watch him in person. Yeah, he is a hot commodity. Arkansas is high on him as well, just like most everybody's going to be high on him. But you would like to think that, you know, with Bruce Pearl and what he's been able to do and the influence, we'd love to see LeBaron Philon at Auburn.
He's got a little more length. For those like James that are calling in and say, please, no more of those height-deficient guards, I'll put it that way. James said 5'5" guards. I don't think we got any 5'5"ers, but he was saying they were all 5'5". But Philon's 6'3", 6'4". Yeah. Got a little length. Scott Hardy calls he's a walking bucket. You know, you can throw whatever defense at him. He's able to get the ball to the rack. He can finish with both hands. He's not the big-time high flyer, even though he's athletic enough to finish around the rim, but he's a scorer, man. He's a shooter. He's a scorer. He's silky smooth. Looks like he's got a lot of confidence. I would love to see him at all.
Oh, you and I both. John said, remember Alabama playing with 3 freshmen, not to say they didn't get a country boy hind-end whipping, though. They are. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams that, again, they on the flip side of that, John, they've reaped the rewards of bringing in 3 great freshmen. Mm-hmm. Those 3 guys have played really well to this point, but he's got a good point. Maybe he hadn't been pushed around like that, didn't know how to respond.
Well, I mentioned that with Auburn. You know, when you have 3 freshmen coming in, and it doesn't mean that some can't end up being like Miller and be one of the best players in the country,
right.
But if you're deficient in a certain area, and maybe you're not quite as strong as you're going to be when you're a 4th or 5th year guy, it's a dynamic you got to think about. Right. It's almost something you got to plan for. Because you don't want to end up being where year in and year out you've got nothing but freshmen and sophomore out there. I don't think from a physicality standpoint you're going to be able to hold up with the transfer portal and the age that some of these guys are getting on them now.
No doubt about it. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Auburn Blitz right after this.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
L&G Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama. Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
WAXC TV3's Basketball Game of the Week is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet Buick GMC on the Columbus Parkway in Opelika. Get ready to smile. Catch game replays on WAXC TV3 and on our Roku app. Games replay Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. and also Saturday and Sunday at 6:30. Catch the replays of these games airing now from Glenn Smith Chevrolet Buick GMC in Opelika and WAXC TV3.
Welcome back, everyone. Auburn Blitz here. A couple segments left in today's show. Thomas, you're right. Alabama is tonight instead of tomorrow. They got it at 7:30 tonight. So they'll be – will they be at home or will they be in Vanderbilt? I can't remember. I do remember them playing tonight. So, but anyway, Auburn will be in action tomorrow against Georgia at Neville Arena. That game will start at 6 on the SEC Network. John said matchups lead to a smart coach exposing weaknesses plus okay shot, the lights out. How often do they have that high shooting percentage? Perfect storm for Oklahoma, not so for Alabama. I mean, yeah, look, this has – everybody needs to pump the brakes a little bit if you're an Alabama fan. Go and all the naysayers. This is not Nate Oates has lost the team and they've peaked early and all that. They had one bad game on the road, and it can happen. It can unravel on you.
Didn't it happen to us at Kentucky the year we went to the Final Four?
I think so.
Didn't we go over there and get beat like by 40?
It can unravel on you.
Yeah, and once it starts, I think we got beat like 90-50 on the road at Kentucky that year, man.
Then we come back and beat them in the daggum Elite Eight.
Yeah, and I may be a year off on that. I apologize if I am.
No, we lost 9 games that year, and we went to the Final Four. I mean, people, you know, when the further away from something you get, all you remember is the banner you hung. Yeah. Oh, we went to the Final Four in 2019.
Won the SEC tournament.
Won the SEC tournament, but you forget, you know, about sitting where we are right now. And I'm not saying this team's going to go to the Final Four. Don't say that. But you look up and you go, man, that team did lose 9 games.
Yeah.
So, look, you play them one at a time. That's all you can do. And Alabama will be fine. They only dropped 2 spots in the poll. They're number 4. There's about 15 teams in the country probably win a national title this year. Let's just be honest about it. You know, Purdue's at number 1, but, I mean.
Did you watch them Sunday?
I did.
My gosh. How do they keep going and finding these centers?
You can't stop that guy.
Well,
he's 7'4". Isn't he 7'4"?
Yeah, 7'4", and he was a decent player last year.
Yeah, but man,
his footwork has changed so much, and I think in the last 2 games against Michigan State, who can defend and they're coached as well as anybody's ever been coached, he's had 70 points and 30 rebounds in the 2 games. He had 38 there on Sunday. I watched a lot of it, and
he just poses a problem for anybody.
And it's also the offense for Purdue it's beautiful to watch. You know that
it is.
When that motion offense is run well, and you're feeding the post off movement,
right?
And there's differing ways that they're moving around. Man, they are they're a fun watch, and they have been for a while. You and I called Haas a few years ago, and he ends up over there at Purdue and looked about like this guy, and had a couple of years where he played like this guy.
Yeah,
I wonder where he is, Brett.
I don't know. I don't know.
Got to think he's playing ball overseas somewhere.
Probably.
I'll try to pull that up.
Yeah, it'd be good to hear where he is. I mean, he took a picture with Luke and made Luke look like just a squirt. I mean, you remember that when we went over and did that game. So let's kind of I want to get off that, and again, Auburn on the floor tomorrow night at 6 o'clock against Georgia. All right. Some recruiting news. A big cornerback target will come off the board for the 2024 class tomorrow. Jaden Lewis just came off the junior day visit with 150 other juniors. Set his commitment date for Wednesday, according to his Twitter. He said, ready to start recruiting for my class. Auburn holds both the 24/7 crystal ball predictions and is a heavy favorite to land Lewis. Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida State, Ole Miss, Arkansas are his top schools. So a 4-star, number 176 overall player in the country, number 13 cornerback, and the number 12 player in the state of Alabama. Randy, here we go, 24 class. This guy goes on the junior day visit, sets his commitment date for Wednesday, seems to be a big heavy lean toward Auburn. This coaching staff in 4 months is doing. I mean, it's unbelievable the exposure of what they're doing versus what the previous coaching staff did.
And I know it gets tiresome sitting up here and beating a dead horse, but man, it's impossible not to beat it. When you're a talking head like the two of us are at times, you've got to call a spade, and a spade is that Harsin group, man, what in the world were they doing?
Ridiculous.
Really, it's.
This is one of the 4 at Anniston.
I was about to go back.
It's one of these 4 kids that are up at Anniston right now.
And if you can get one of the first ones, and you know there's some length coming with others that are coming over as well. And, you know, Anniston's been a hotbed for linemen over the last 20 years. And now they're starting to get the athletes back, and they had a great team last year. And don't they lose to Andalusia in the playoffs? And Andalusia moves on to win state championship. Semifinal. You got to expect them to see each other again because there was 2 in from Andalusia on junior day. Did we have 200? I think I saw a number.
I know it was 150 plus.
204 was the final number that I saw that Auburn welcomed in. You know how many it was last year?
20.
20.
Yeah, I know.
204 to 20.
Right. Everybody could have gotten around one table. You know, they didn't really need to go into the indoor facility. Just a little bit of info on Lewis. You know, he's a track guy too. A 10-8-2 100-meter run. You know, he's 6 foot. He weighs about 180 pounds. You know, he'll put some more weight on there, Randy. So I mean, again, we did horrible in the state this past year, and it was one of the most loaded classes in the history of rankings. So getting one of the top 12 right now, right out of the gate. You know, you got, DeMarcus Riddick, who had a phenomenal visit, is committed to Georgia right now, and spoke highly. You know, you got a Malcolm Simmons at Benjamin Russell, another top 5 player, you know, really had a good time at Auburn. I mean, these guys, they're doing what it takes to try to get Auburn back to where it needs to be.
Options. And competing with Alabama and Georgia. You can't concede constantly to our 2 lead rivals, and I don't think this group will.
One final segment coming up right after this.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At CNT Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce, because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
OGS Tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren presents Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Attention! Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months? You may be entitled to compensation. Call Zantac Justice now for a free legal case review. The FDA has warned that Zantac and other medications containing heartburn drug ranitidine may be contaminated with cancer-causing agent NDMA. Consult your physician prior to discontinuing any use of medication.
Please call 800-379-5986.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogrooom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Brubaker Motors in Montgomery is the largest and fastest growing used car dealership in the River region. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker. It's better at Brubaker.com.
Brubaker, Brubaker, Brubaker.
You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker.
BREWBAKER. BREWBAKER.com.
It's better at Brubaker.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz final segment here on the program. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank Russell Do-It Center, Building Supply Stores, Mortgage Pro, there at McKinley Team, and Big Fish Real Estate Group at Lake Martin. 30 days till they stick the plug in. I just call it Plug Day here on Lake Martin, and the water will start coming back up. So
Let me stay there just for a second, because speaking of Russell Do-It and speaking of this community, my gosh, when you think of the growth that we've seen from an economic standpoint over the last 5 to 7 years, it's been a beautiful thing for those of us that have been in these boardrooms and talking to these people, and part of it to actually see dirt moving and things happening. And then when you travel down 63 is where I was wanting to go with this, though.
Right.
I think a smart thing that we could do right now, Brett, is to take a video riding down 63 all the way up until, say, you get to Kalijah Bridge.
Right.
And let's look at it in 10 years. My opinion is you're not going to recognize it.
Yeah, it's just
because
a lot of
what's
growth
about
going
to
on
happen
there.
at Wicker Point,
yeah.
from an economic standpoint, it's going to be such a major impact to this community in that 63 corridor.
No, I totally agree.
I think I may have just had an idea there that we need to go back on.
Let's go do a drone shot.
Really look at the difference that it's going to be. But it's it's a great time to be living here. I can tell
Yeah,
you
it
that
is.
from an economic standpoint.
No doubt about it. Jim comes in and says he heard that Cadillac was not there this weekend. He was sick. So, again, still an impressive weekend. Obviously, him being there is huge because of the pool and the weight he carries with recruits and stuff. But he'll have his opportunities, no doubt about it. When you look at this Auburn program, and we'll start talking about baseball and softball coming up. You look at gymnastics where they are right now, ranked in the top 5.
Swimming,
swimming and diving is coming back up. You look at what Johnny Harris is doing with the women's program. You look now with the shot and arm with Hugh Freeze, not even coached yet, but you can just kind of feel a positive momentum swing. And I'm gonna take a little bit of time here to say that I think maybe Auburn athletics, after next year, we can look at it and say maybe from a top-down standpoint, maybe one of the best we've seen all across the board. Volleyball's gotten a lot better.
Well, it's been moving in this direction.
Right.
I think the one thing that has kept so many of us at bay with saying what you just said there is just where we stand in football.
Start getting that rocking again.
Yeah. I think the rest of them are there.
Right.
I think the mediocrity, and it's not that we've been bad. We haven't been bad. We've just been exceptionally mediocre for Auburn standards in comparison to the two juggernauts that we're having to deal with on a year in and year out basis that from our age bracket.
Right.
If you're 20, if you're your son's age bracket, Auburn's not the program of Alabama and Georgia.
No.
They're not. Like, football program, that's like, I'm hearing you, Daddy.
Yeah.
Tell me, but it's not what I've seen. It's not that you want to, but in mine and your age bracket, growing up in the 80s.
Oh, we were.
Going to school in the 90s, graduating in 2000, my gosh, the idea that Alabama and Georgia is that much better than us doesn't even register.
It's not even close.
So,
I'll tell the story real quick with David yesterday, and he told us off the air. So, David, I'm going to steal a story. I'm sure you're watching. And he goes around to these, when he goes to the opposing schools, and he gets a coffee mug from each school. Everybody has something they collect.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got him when they went to Ole Miss, he got one of the Ole Miss coffee mugs, and he walked in and he was talking to one of the guys in there, and he goes, I'm an Auburn fan, blah, blah, and all this kind of stuff. And he said, the guy said, well, what do you think about Hugh Freeze? And he's in Oxford now.
Yeah.
And Dave's like, I think we got a great guy. He said, let me tell you something, man. He said, the rest of us are scared to death. He said, don't let anybody else say anything different. He said, we know what that guy can do. And he said, yeah, he did some stuff. And he said, all that has been washed away. He said, now it's get back to business. He said, everybody in the SEC better understand what's coming. And it's coming from an Ole Miss fan. And he's like, look, he turned our program around. He pulled our program out of the ashes. And he said, basically told David, we know y'all got more resources. Y'all got better things that you can pull from. Him in that environment, he said, man, he is going to flourish. And you can already feel, because the guy knows what it takes to win in this league. And he's showing it by his effort on recruiting, and he's showing it by going out and getting coaches that fit his style. And I'm telling you, he's going to put pressure. He's got a point. Somebody backed in the corner hungry. Not to say that he needs that motivation. He was a good coach anyway. But somebody that's got a chip on their shoulder and that everybody wants to see you fall on your face. That's just even extra motivation to go out there and prove people
Bruce
wrong.
Pearl.
That's it. It's exactly it.
Yeah, it's not
the same
equivalent issues.
It's
I'm not saying that, but
it's the similar story.
Yeah, and I think Auburn fans are braced for a mediocre season if we get it. It's not. It's
nobody even looking at a record next year.
I think we're braced. I think we're in a very good spot where we can go, oh my gosh, we are what we are. But
in 2 or 3
are you
years.
watching what he's doing on the recruiting? Are you watching? It's what we said about Brian Harsin. I think we get a bad knock at times for maybe being a little unrealistic with expectations. Not that, but I think that when you watched what you got there, that those that stayed on the bus with him as long as they did were just deer in the headlights. I mean, they were glass half full guys. They were drinking that orange and blue Kool-Aid. And for those of us that got off a little earlier than the others, you know, now we look like we knew what we were talking about. But when in reality, we didn't want to get off.
All we wanted.
We just wanted somebody to come in and do the job.
That's exactly right. And we just looked at reality and said, this ain't going to work out.
Yeah.
If he keeps doing it this way,
Yeah.
you know, he might be a nice guy and all this kind of stuff, but he ain't getting any players to come into this program.
What Hugh Freeze is doing is going to work.
Oh, there's no question about it, man.
Just may take a little while.
It is, and again, we talked about it yesterday. It's not so much in the win-loss column, but when Georgia comes to Jordan-Hare, is it a dogfight? Does it come down the end? Maybe our roster's not going to be anywhere near Georgia's next year. But how do our players play? It's going to be a different look.
Same as Carnell did when he took over.
Same thing.
Same mentality, and he built that in. I think we've got something to build on with what he.
Then you start putting the top players back in the program. You got something.
They got something to buy.
You got something. You're exactly right. And they're selling a big product right now. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Auburn Blitz. Again, we'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place. For Andy Lee, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.